It's been a whirlwind, really, of getting to move across the water around 19 years of age and, basically taking it in stride and being able to do what I've done now and, playing every week for Sunderland and captain my country, and it's just a dream come true, and, hopefully I'll keep doing it and try and reach the highest level as possible.
I actually sort of started on St Patrick's Day, the 17th of March, and I thought we were going to have a baby born on St Patrick's Day, but it took on to the next day, the 18th of March, so he was born in the early hours of the 18th of March. So more or less born with a football at his feet. That's just what he wanted to do. Front garden of my dad's house, Trai's granda, there was a bit of grass, and it basically became the tackling pitch between him and his cousins. So that's went on for 3 or 4 hours every Saturday and Sunday. The court is where we lived. We lived sort of walking distance. There was no road in between it, so us as parents were quite happy letting them go out and just going up into the court, as we called it. And we knew he was still there whenever you heard the ball hitting off the fence. Whenever the ball stopped hitting up the fence, then you thought, better go up and check and see if he's still there. Tried to get him into the other sports. We sort of tried him at MMA and boxing and tried to take him to other sports, but it was just football. He was just obsessed with football. Trai joined Ballymena whenever he was 7. They say in them days you weren't allowed to play football until you were 8 or 9, but Trai came a year early and played a year up.
We probably had been going about 5 years at that time, 4 or 5 years, so we were sort of established as a club, sort of what we were improved from the lower age up. And when he came in very fortunately with a good core players, technically every bit as good as him, but he had this dedication, total focus, determination, and he wanted to play. It was his biggest thing. He wanted to play. Didn't like getting beat, still doesn't like getting beat. Always loved to tackle, which I'm sure you all have seen a few of those, but never was any bother, just wanted to play football. Very quiet, kept himself to himself, but when he went onto the pitch, his sleeves rolled up and he would have barked out orders, would have been pretty boisterous for his age on the pitch. Probably the best reader of a game I've seen at his age. I told him that one night. And the best defender I've seen at his age. Just that this composure, he can play football as well as defend, and he can encourage people. People will feed off him. Well, Trai's best quality to me would be his determination. He's always very determined, doesn't like getting beat, wants to win, wants to improve, dedicated trainer, turns up in time, doesn't matter what the weather was like, just the ball was there and that was it, dedication.
So I saw Trai, first of all, when he was 10-year-old. He was playing for Ballymena United as a centre-back, quite small, very agile, great attitude, and he's always remained a tough tackler, great commitment. And I just felt that he had all the attributes to be a Linfield player as such. Now, at the time his dad, Johnny, was managing the team, I developed a really good relationship with Johnny, and thankfully when Trai was 11-year-old, he came and joined Linfield Football Club.
Ballymena are a fantastic club, and again over the years they have nurtured and created a lot of talent coming through their system, which is a great credit to people like Johnny and the others down there. Some have went on and broken into the first team and played in the first team, but I think more importantly from the financial side of it, some have moved on. And what seems to happen when and it happens the same in England, Scotland, probably the world over, that any young talented player at a so-called sort of smaller club, as Ballymena would sort of be in terms of the size and everything else, that people want to poach, steal, pinch some of their better younger players. Try to come to Linfield at such a young age, which again afforded us the opportunity to not only see the qualities that we knew that Trai had, but actually see it firsthand.
He was under 13 at the time, and we went to the Paris International Cup. and we got to the final, and the game went the extra time. He carried the team, and we won the game 1-0, won the tournament. Really inspired him to lift his game and give that extra 20% when the rest of the kids were tired. Personally, for me, he was the one that really, really got us over the line that day.
And I knew at 15 or 16 how good Trai Hume was. I think the only surprising thing was that a club didn't sort of take him at 15 or 16. Whether it was he probably hadn't nailed down a definitive position where he was going to play. Always played right back, he played centre half. Again, he was probably never always going to be potentially big enough to be an out-and-out centre half. He played in the 6, he played in the holding role at midfield. And I think we always knew, you say I was shocked, surprised, but also very pleased when he didn't get picked at 16 to go to. And there was one or two sort of lesser clubs in and around League 1, League 2 who had shown an interest, and I know there was probably a slight disappointment, a tinge of disappointment from Trai and his father that they weren't afforded that opportunity. But we knew, we seen the calibre of player he's going to be, and thankfully we were proven right.
He was very patient, he was dedicated, he was humble, he was driven. But for me personally, I had full belief that the boy would always get something. It may have been a little bit later than others, but what a career he's had, and what a career he's going to have, and he'll continue to have. But no, I had full belief in the boy that he'd always send for a big club.
It feels amazing, coming to this massive club. Can't wait to go out in front of the fans and play and train all the lads, so I'm looking forward to it.
We went over as a family to watch the Sunderland game against Sheffield Wednesday. They won 5-0, and we were up in one of the boxes, and I was sitting beside Trai at the game, and I was sort of watching him as much as the game, and I could just see in his eyes he just wanted to sign for Sunderland. There was other clubs showing an interest, but we came away from that first sort of visit, and I knew that he was going to decide that Sunderland was where he wanted to play football.
Well, Trai was certainly better prepared, best prepared. Where a 15, 16-year-old going in as an apprentice, Trai was going as a first-team player. Albeit it took him a little bit of time initially to sort of settle in and bed in. But again, the feedback was always coming back from Stuart at Sunderland and everybody else at Sunderland that wait till Trai gets a run of games, wait till he gets that little bit more knowledgeable of the situation where he is, and then you'll see him thrive, which he has done.
We didn't attend it because we were sort of holding out hope that we would get to the final. So I was hoping to get to the final at Wembley again, as same as the League One. But unfortunately they just didn't get the result in the second leg. I would say watching the semi-final and then scoring the goal against Luton, that was probably the best moment I've had watching him playing for Sunderland so far. So I think I nearly jumped through the ceiling in the living room. Yeah, well, so whenever he first got the call up, Ian Barclough was the manager. He rung me, it was a Sunday, and he says, I've been selected. I've got the phone call and the email to say I'm in the Northern Ireland squad, and couldn't believe it. That's what he's always wanted to do, is play for Northern Ireland. That was the ultimate sort of aim. And then the first game, I don't even think I watched the match myself because he was on the bench, and I just constantly looked around at the bench to see if he was going to get a chance to get on. And then whenever he did get on, that was probably the most emotional I've ever felt watching him play football. So yeah, that was the sort of all the hard work over the years paid off.
Look, there was a lot of people that determined Trai somewhat destiny as such in football. I like to think I played a little part in that. The night he captained Northern Ireland was there, and it actually brought a tear to my eye because it was one of the proudest things I've ever seen. Obviously I've had my children born, we've been very successful at Linfield, but the night he captained Northern Ireland was a very, very special moment for me personally. Obviously for his family, speaking to them after the game, it was a moment of tremendous pride also, but just pride and real somewhat respect for him, and so proud of him, you know, so proud of him for how far he's come.
The Trai has moved to now in the levels of football, and whereas he's playing at the top of the Championship, international football, I take huge pride in that there. Not just for myself, but for his family, the local club, the local town. So he's done really well. Still can go a bit further.
Well, I suppose us as a family, like our life has changed because Trai's now moved to England, you know, and we don't get to spend Christmases and holidays and most birthdays and weddings, any family gatherings. Trai doesn't get there, you know. So that's still difficult. It's still not easy at times. But as a family and as a father and mother, watching him play football and living this dream, you know, it's all we ever wanted, and as brothers and sisters, it's just everything we want for him.